Hello there folks, my name is Spoonks and welcome back to another episode of Box Office Chat. This is the show where I break down the top 5 domestic box office results, see where each movie landed, and see how well each movie did, so let's get started. Number 5 was Until Dawn, opening with $8 million this weekend domestically and $18 million worldwide. Yeah, this pretty much did about what I expected it to do. It definitely got overshadowed by the other big horror movie out right now, and there wasn't really much buzz on the film, really. Even the diehard fans seem to be turned off by what the trailers presented. I saw a lot of complaints from fans saying, like, this doesn't feel like Until Dawn. It looks more just like a typical generic horror movie, really, and the movie didn't really break new ground on like horror or video game movies. Really, it wasn't really given a big marketing from what I saw. It just seemed like they just had to really just like find a way to get this movie out there. Internationally, things seem to be a bit better, but not by much. Just a $10 million performance internationally. The benefit here though is, like most horror movies, it didn't cost that much to make. It was only $15 million. It's already made that back worldwide. All it needs to do now is double that budget, but that's also going to be a big if, because people don't seem to be really enjoying this movie. Critics were divided. Some people thought it was fine, others didn't really like it, and audiences didn't seem to be too thrilled about it either. It got a C+ on Cinema Score, which isn't out of the ordinary for a horror film, but in this day and age you got to do a lot better to win people, to get people to the theater, especially with your horror movies. And considering the most recent horror movie, this ain't looking too great. So not a bad opening given the budget, thankfully, but yeah, things ain't looking so great for Until Dawn. I'm not expecting this to have a huge run at the box office, unfortunately. Number 4 was a Minecraft movie, making $22 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $379 million and its worldwide total to $814 million. Minecraft, despite the really crowded weekend this weekend, falling from 2nd to 4th, still putting up a good fight this weekend. It's still large in part away the biggest film of the year so far domestically. Again, worldwide it'll have to settle for 2nd for now, but still really solid, really impressive totals for a Minecraft movie. I do say that we were in the process of the slowdown period. I still think that's gonna happen, even with, you know, the fact that the movie still seems to be holding well. Many people still want to go and see it. I think the hype and initial response to the film has definitely died down. I think this is just more, we're heading into that big family movie area where like they just linger throughout the top 5. I think we're going to see that happening, and it's definitely going to benefit from that being the only family movie out right now until Lilo and Stitch. It's still got another month before that, and because of how well it's doing, it's surpassing a couple of milestones. It surpassed the $350 million milestone. Not only that, but it's also just $20 million away from the $400 million milestone domestically, which is really, really damn impressive. The fact that it's getting this close to Mario, again, not gonna top that. That is out of the question, but still, like, really, really impressive to see this movie making this type of money, and worldwide especially, this thing is just absolutely crushing it. It has surpassed the $800 million milestone worldwide, now just $200 million away from the $1 billion mark. Obviously not the first film of the year to do it, but still really impressive that Minecraft was able to get $1 billion worldwide. That is absolutely insane, especially when you go back to how people thought it was going to do when that first trailer dropped. The fact that it's gonna reach these milestones and then some, still really impressive. All around, another solid weekend for a Minecraft movie. We'll see how much juice it has left in the tank, how much further this movie can go, but at this point I don't think anyone is too upset over how this movie has done thus far. Number 3 was The Accountant 2, opening with $24 million this weekend domestically and $37 million worldwide. Gonna be honest, I'm actually kind of impressed with how this movie did. Granted, again, like a lot of the movies you've mentioned, it felt the brunt of being released in a very crowded weekend, and just a lot of other movies stealing some of the spotlight away from this. But the fact that this movie opened near practically identical to the first film, which also opened to 24 million roughly, that is pretty impressive. It shows that the lifeline of the film has really transcended over the years, because the first one did good, but it really found a second life through video on demand and DVD. And even though it's been a very, very long time, I was even joking about how like they waited too long for this movie, like 9 years after the first one. That was definitely like one of the big things I thought would hurt this movie. But no, clearly a lot of people really like and respect that first film and wanted to go check out the sequel. I think the marketing really sold this movie well. The star power, especially of Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal, got some people interested in it, and people seem to be really enjoying it as well, with critics liking it good enough, not nothing stellar, but they're enjoying it. And while it is lower than the first film's an A- cinema score for this isn't bad, especially considering the other action thrillers we've gotten, Working Man, The Amateur, and I believe this is going to be the only like true action movie until Mission Impossible on Memorial Day. So I think that'll definitely help this stand out from the crowd and appease people who want to see those types of movies. The interesting though, the one downside thing though is the budget for this movie. It had a bigger budget than the first one. The first one was $40 million. This is $80 million. So it's gonna need some help. It's definitely gonna need some help getting to where it needs to be considered a success. And I don't think it's gonna pull off what Sinners did, but if people seem to really like it as much as they seem to, and the movie's able to stand out on its own, I think we could definitely see this movie surpassing some solid milestones for itself. So I don't think it'll be like a huge hit or anything, but this is a promising start for The Accountant 2. I wouldn't push aside this opening, especially when you consider how long it's been and just the competition this weekend. I would say this is still a pretty decent start for The Accountant 2. Number 2 was the re-release of The Revenge of the Sith, making $25 million this weekend, bringing its original domestic total to $405 million and its worldwide total to $891 million. I didn't really talk about this movie. Well, I didn't talk about this movie at all last week, because while I did think this would crack the top 5 and maybe even impress, at the end of the day, there's only so much you can say about a re-release that's only going to be in theaters for about a week per se. But still, this surpassed, I think, even some of the highest expectations people were expecting for this movie. Again, at the end of the day, this is just a re-release. Anyone who wanted to watch this movie again could watch it at home, but the fact that this many people showed up to go see it for the 20th anniversary, which, by the way, that's right folks, 2005 was 20 years ago. But back to this movie, the fact that people still went to go and check this movie out to celebrate the anniversary is really something special, because again, the prequel trilogy was not well received by many people. So the fact that The Phantom Menace last year did as well as it did, and that seems to be carrying over to Revenge of the Sith this year, is really damn impressive. The Star Wars fan base is still thriving, and many of the fans wanted to go relive the glory days of seeing this in theaters, or maybe even take their kids or their friends who haven't seen this and show it to them on the big screen for the first time. And yeah, just a really impressive turnout for this movie. Unfortunately, this is going to be rather short-lived. It's a limited re-release. I believe it's only going to be in theaters until Wednesday, so if you haven't gotten the chance to see Revenge of the Sith and you're interested, see it as soon as you can. I really think they dropped this out at the right time, obviously 20 years after the original helped, but also with the premiere of the new season of Andor also debuting this past week. I also think that got some Star Wars interest high to go and check this out again. Yeah, just a really impressive performance for Revenge of the Sith, the re-release. You don't really see re-releases doing this well at all, really, at the box office, and this one proved otherwise. Yeah, just a fantastic job. And finally, let's end the video off with the number 1 movie of the weekend, which was once again Sinners, making $45 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $123 million and its worldwide total to $163 million. Oh my god, folks. Let me just get this out of the way. I've been doing this for a long time right now. We are approaching the 5th year anniversary of me talking about the box office, and I've seen a lot of miracles when discussing movie numbers on the show. Your Top Gun Mavericks, your Barbies, your Oppenheimers, so on and so forth. I don't think I have ever seen a film perform quite like this, where just universal acclaim and praise amongst everybody, and just everybody talking about this movie, going to see it again and again and again. This movie worked its magic on every single person who has even heard this movie's name, and they showed up to see it, because folks, we have something special here. This film only dropped in its second weekend 5%. To put this in perspective, King of Kings, the animated faith-based film, dropped 9% last weekend. This held better than the animated faith-based movie, and this is an original black horror film about vampires. That this was able to accomplish that. That is exceptional. And not only that, but it has also surpassed its initial $90 million budget domestically, and worldwide it's just 30 million away from doubling that, which a lot of people were skeptical on it despite the universal acclaim it got. And well, it's gonna happen. It'll probably happen by the end of this week. It'll probably even happen within a matter of days. This movie is just a phenomenon, unlike anything we have ever seen. The fact, again, this is a rated R, bloody, sexual, graphic film, and it is performing like a kid's movie during the holidays. Like your Mufasas, your Sonics, your Moanas, your Wickeds. Like the fact this movie is performing to the degree that those movies did during the holly jolliest time of the year, without there being really any big holidays. Like again, the big holiday was last weekend, and the movie is still doing this well. That is exceptional, and it's about to become one of the biggest movies of the year. I'm certain it's going to crack 150 million by the end of this week, and I even think 200 million is definitely at play here domestically. 300 million worldwide also seems doable. It doesn't seem like the film has been reaching as big overseas as it has domestically, but it does seem to be holding well internationally. I heard it only dropped 14% from last weekend internationally, so that's pretty good. It's starting to pick up steam a bit, but yeah, still, I don't know what else to say really. This film has just done something we haven't seen, I don't think, ever for a horror movie, especially to this caliber. The fact that it has done this well, this just absolutely astonishing, monumentous, stunning, and everybody is going out to see it. And I mean everybody. Kevin Bacon and Tom Cruise were on social media a couple days ago talking about how great this movie, encouraging others to go check it out. And if Tom Cruise is telling the world that the movie you made is good, that is better than any single Academy Award out there. Again, just absolutely insane word of mouth, absolutely insane legs we are seeing with this movie. I cannot wait to see how much higher this movie goes. Absolutely the biggest win imaginable for movie going right now. I'm just flabbergasted in the best ways possible. The fact that this movie has reached this type of audience and is reaching these big heights and numbers, just what more else can I say? Monumentous, outstanding, phenomenal, just great performance for Sinners thus far. Very happy to see this movie doing this well. And those were your top 5 domestic box office results for this weekend, but we're not quite done yet, as we've got another week ahead of us and new movies hitting theaters. And this weekend kicks off the summer movie season. Hard to believe, I know, but we're about to kick off the biggest season of movie going with Thunderbolts. That's right, Marvel, after taking last year off, is back to starting off the summer with their latest entry in their huge cinematic universe. This time it's about a ragtag team of misfits who seem to all have pretty bad backgrounds, who have to team up to stop an unstoppable threat, and throughout it they need to work together and overcome their differences to become the team that can stop this unstoppable threat. This is definitely the wild card for the MCU in terms of movies this year. I think it's safe to say, Captain America was the one that supposed to quote unquote start the year strong, and Fantastic Four is the surefire hit that's supposed to end the year strong in terms of movies for them. This one has always been up in the air. It is the middle child, if you will, for the MCU this year. It's got a cast of characters who aren't really as popular as some of the former Marvel characters. A lot of them come from the lower tier MCU shows and movies: Black Widow, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And again, quality-wise, the MCU has been up and down. We can reach heights of Deadpool and Wolverine or lows of Captain America: Brave New World. And while this does look like an improvement quality-wise over Captain America: Brave New World, I'm not sure if as many people are hyped due to the reception and how that movie was received. And I think this is definitely going to be one film that isn't going to really kill it necessarily on its opening weekend. I think we're going to see a really solid number because, again, the Marvel name is still pretty big. I think a lot of people are still really interested in checking this out. The marketing has been really solid. They've taken definitely an interesting approach selling this movie, making the poster reflect a cereal box, that quote-unquote cinematic trailer they put out a couple months ago. Really creative, interesting marketing for this film. I do see some people talking about it, getting interested and hyped to see it. I think we'll see a good number for the box office. I'm just not sure. Again, these Marvel movies, they're really expensive, and I'm not sure if it's going to be as big as they're hoping for because, again, it's not a guarantee anymore. The Marvel name isn't a guarantee anymore. I think a lot of people are just going to be waiting to hear what people think or say during that first weekend, as opposed to just rushing out and seeing it for the first weekend, if you know what I mean. Because again, you never know with Marvel. Again, it could be good or bad now. It's not a lock, but I still think we're going to see some really solid numbers. Certainly think this is going to start the summer off better than The Fall Guy last year, but we'll see how well this movie truly does, as well as the rest of the movies that land in the top 5 on the next Box Office Chat. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Box Office Chat. What did you all think of the results? Were you satisfied, unsatisfied? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all the social media links right there. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.